All right. It's your boy Pastor Mike, and welcome to the 11th hour. We got that little groove going right there. Y'all hear that beat? Come on now, you gotta rock your head a little bit, just a little bit.
I wasn't ready for that.
You wasn't ready.
Wasn't ready for
See, you gotta get a little ready. Come on, just Well, you know, Dorian put that beat together right there for me. I'm always giving him a plug, man. Always give him a plug. So yeah, just like that, man. Come on, you know. And the first group I had that came on the show, man, they partied with me. The last couple of guests, man, I'm about to work on this thing a little bit. Some of y'all too cool.
You gotta add that to the intro.
Gotta add that to the intro. Okay, I'll do that. All right, so welcome to the 11th hour where we talk about youth, family, and community. And this is your boy, Pastor Mike, and I got a great guest today. So you know how I like to do it. I'm gonna let people talk for themselves. So I'm gonna let him introduce himself and tell us what he do.
All right, so my name is Kedrick House. I am with Boys and Girls Clubs of Rutherford County. I've been there almost 10 years. I'm a Murfreesboro native. I know that's kind of irregular now. Most people have moved in and are kind of taking over, but I'm still holding it down for
me and you, man. Like I tell people all the time, I say I'm originally from Murfreesboro. They be like, what? Right. Like you? Like, yeah, me and about 3 other people. Like that's about it. Because I know it's not a lot of people, you know, still originally from around here. So before I get into the official question, so let me just ask you, since you are a native of the borough, what are some of the changes you've seen as far as our youth in this area?
I think one of the biggest changes is the growth has definitely impacted, I guess, relationships between youth in the area. So I can remember being a kid, like I've got a core group of maybe 10 friends, and we still communicate. We play sports together. We went to the same schools together. We went to college together, and now there's so many different schools and so many different groups and so many different opportunities. People, you know, parents don't know parents like they used to. Parents don't know what's available to everybody like they used to because growth has happened so quickly. So I think that's probably the biggest thing for me is just the relationships and the small town community going away from the youth. Right.
Now, Kedrick and I, we go way back when he was, you know, were you a freshman in college then, or where were you? I know you wasn't in high school.
I probably was a freshman. I think I was a freshman.
In college, right?
In college.
Okay, yeah, because you about to hurt my heart right now, man. I like if you was a freshman in high school. No, there was no way you could have been a freshman in high school. We did too much during the summer and during the week. But way back in the day when he was young, when he was a little young man, we did a lot of work. It used to be J Street, January Street, you know, but it's not there no more. And we did a lot of fun over there. Worked with a lot of kids and just kind of got dirty with each other. And even back then, man, you had a heart for kids, man. And I could just tell that that's kind of where your spot was going to be.
Sure. Yeah, I think, at that point, I laugh all the time because it's one of those things. I'm like, I was probably 18 or 19 and responsible for people's kids.
Yeah, you were.
And I'm like, who in the world let me do that? But, you know,
shoot, you take mine, you won't.
I don't know about that. I just had a lot of you know, strong mentors and that kind of thing for me. So being able to give back and help out, and especially for that demographic, because I fit that demographic as a child as well. So it was good for me to do that, and I still do it now. So.
Yeah, and you still ball like you used to, like real heavy, like, or you just kind of.
I probably have not played a basketball game since like 2015.
Wow, really?
Yeah, knee not too good. I play tennis and golf.
Okay,
about it. Contact sports.
You leave that alone.
No,
God,
I tell the kids I stop playing when they have the ability to beat me, so I just don't even set.
We see you can't let them beat you, man. You gotta, you can't let them. Hey, I'll
ping pong.
Ping
pong,
pool. Okay, I got you. Just switched from the ball to the easier stuff.
I quarterback a little bit.
Okay. So I need to pick that up.
Still get active, but the basketballs, races and stuff like that. Not
just
as
leave
much.
It alone, you know. I mean, you got them long, lean legs, man. It don't take about 3 steps for you to get to the finish line, right?
It's getting started.
It's
it's the takeoff that is the
issue. The takeoff as the issue.
I false step 7 times.
Man, I hear you. All right. So listen, man, we're gonna get into some questions for Kedrick, man, and we're gonna just have him talk a little bit about his position, where he's at the Boys and Girls Club, and talk about that a little bit, and then we're gonna have a little fun with him today. So, Kedrick, man, tell us a little bit about what do you love about being at the Boys and Girls Club?
So I think I love the club so much because it's different. I mean,
okay,
it kind of marries the academic side of things, but then also you can have that fun. You can build those relationships, and you can kind of teach things, the life skills and that kind of thing that is not necessarily in the academic setting. So, plus it's kind of wide open being privately run. I mean, I kind of have the ability to mold it how I want to instead of just having a curriculum or something like that to follow that you can't really vary from.
Okay, so then you do both, one here and the one in Smyrna too?
I'm just in Murfreesboro.
Okay, do you have any say? I ain't gonna put you on the spot. Okay, so so what are some of the struggles that you have being at the Boys and Girls Club?
I say probably the biggest struggle is funding, because we get some state and federal funds, and then of course some of the members pay scholarship quite a bit as well too. So funding is a bit of an issue, and then of course now COVID is an issue. We're running about 50% capacity.
Wow!
So we're about 120, 140 kids a day.
That's at 50%.
Yeah, we used to be about 260, 270 a day.
That's a lot.
And then we also originally we picked up at 31 schools in Murfreesboro. Now we're at 17. So we've had to make several cuts, not out of ability, but just to keep the kids safe. So we try to keep them distance. We try to keep them masked and that kind of thing. But of course, they're kids, and kids play and run and hug and high five. So that's probably the two biggest challenges, just funding, and then COVID has been a pretty big deal.
Because y'all used to do like a huge fundraiser, like what was it, a steak dinner or a burger dinner or something like that?
So we do steak and burger. It's been off the past 2 years, but we bring in like a speaker and the kids perform and that kind of thing. But we haven't been able to have it for the past 2 years. Hopefully it'll be back in the summer this year.
Because y'all brought in some heavy hitters too.
We had Charles Barkley, Steve Spurrier, we had Inky Johnson.
Love him.
Couple different people.
Yeah. Did y'all have Peyton Manning one year?
Peyton was before me.
Okay.
Probably in the 90s. I think he may have been in the 90s, early 2000s.
I think so, because I'm finna date myself here. I'm gonna date myself. I used to work at on the police department at MTSU back in that era when he came.
Okay.
And you know how they always say, a guy, he's a quarterback because they have those huge hands that can grip that ball. I used to hear that like all the time. I just didn't even really pay attention to it. But man, when I met Peyton Manning, man, he came up to me and first of all, the dude is the nicest dude ever. Like, he's not one of them divas, you know what I'm saying, dude? I'm serious, man. He was just like cool. And we were all sitting in the office, man, and he come in the office and he just like, hey, how y'all doing? I mean, he talking to everybody like he knew us, you know what I'm saying, dude? And he stuck his hand out to shake everybody's hand. Kedrick, man, when I went to shake his hand, dude, my whole hand disappeared. Like, it just disappeared. His whole hand just cut, and I was like, that dude got some grizzly bear hands. Like, I mean, it was just amazing how big his hands were. I know it's just a little side note about him, but dude, I thought that was cool.
Yeah,
I thought that was really cool. So you talked a little bit about the COVID, and I know that's been a big issue. So how have you guys been able, especially you as the leader at the Boys and Girls Club, what are some of the things you're doing to keep your staff motivated, to keep the kids motivated during all this COVID?
Well, so I'll start with the kids. I mean, I think the biggest thing for the kids is just trying to be consistent, because they don't have that. Schools, the policies change at home.
Right.
Parents are working from home. They're going back into the office.
Right.
So we try to keep things as consistent as we can, still letting them have fun, still letting them interact with their friends and their staff and that kind of thing, but also letting them know that we still need to be safe. So that's kind of one thing, is keeping things consistent. Another thing too with the kids, trying to keep them distanced as much as we can. So we try to keep them one to a seat on the bus, which that's part of the reason why we cut some of the schools, to have some availability on the bus. But one to a seat. For staff, it's been a little bit tougher for staff, just because a lot of them are either college students or have other, things and policies that they may have at school or that they may have with other jobs are different from the club. So we're still requiring masks and that kind of thing. So that's been a little bit of a challenge, but I think the thing we have going for us is the staff we have really care about the kids.
Okay.
So they don't mind, taking the precautions of staying over to clean a little bit extra because they care about the kids and they know that it'll keep them in the building versus not having somewhere to go.
Okay. So. Cool. So you mentioned like you don't have a curriculum that you actually follow. You do you do your own thing, or do you have something you've written or something that you go by?
So as part of the like national Boys and Girls Club chain, there are different national programs that we can run.
Okay.
So for instance, there's healthy lifestyles deals, there's good character, there's citizenship stuff, there's academic programs that we have access to.
Okay.
But there's not a specific requirement for what has to be done. So we can take it like there's a lyricism program that we have access to, but a staff person that's interested in that can mold it to fit their 5 and 6 year olds or their 9 and 10 year olds. So it's kind of open, and there's really no large report out other than for like grants that we have to deliver. So
deliver certain things.
It's pretty open.
Okay. So how do your staff do with that? They do pretty well with that?
They do pretty good about it. A lot of them, I mean, and that's kind of me too. I try to encourage them to do things that interest them because of course it's just going to be more entertaining for the kids if they're passionate for it.
Right.
So a lot of them just pick something that they're interested in, and either they've learned something at school and they change it, or they get on TikTok and see something going on and they change it for that too. So, I mean, you really can be creative and fun and positive kind of all at the same time in program planning, and not just going through the motions and doing it because somebody told you got to do that. Right.
Now, I know you said that it doesn't even feel like a job to you because you just enjoy it so much.
Right.
Do you really feel like a kid sometimes when you're there?
I'm probably the biggest kid in the building. Right. I mean, I'm screaming, running around.
Right.
Even at Kurt's, last night I had like a lightsaber running around, blinking in the dark. But I mean, you got to keep it fun, and I think that's what keeps the kids excited, and especially now since COVID is crazy and all this. But it keeps it fun for them. And if I'm not having fun, the staff aren't having fun, the kids aren't either. So
yeah, that's true.
That's true. What keeps it going.
Now, you mentioned it a little bit, but go a little bit in more detail about where do you think this passion came from? Like, where do you think it came from?
So, man, I'm not really sure. I originally, and I tell people all the time, I started off as like a pre-physical therapy, healthcare administration guy. And then I got to realize that bodily fluids wasn't necessarily something I was thrilled about. So I ended up, going the business route. It kind of, Jermon actually, how I started at the club, Jermon called me. He's like, man, this is a job you should apply for. And of course, 10 years later, I'm still there now. So, I mean, I'm not really sure where it came from. I just know that, of course, I love the community. I love Murfreesboro, and I enjoy hanging out with kids and trying to make a difference. But I think it really comes just because I know a lot of people took time to help me and mold me and that kind of thing. So it just kind of has built from there.
Now, you mentioned a minute ago that it's the times are different from when you grew up, and of course when I grew up. Is it really making a difference? Like, how do you see the difference? Where are you seeing the difference that you guys are making with the kids there?
Sure. I'm one of the biggest things, and another cool thing about the club too, is we pick up at so many different schools.
Right.
So I can, like right now, I've got a buddy that lived in Christiana that he still was involved in like sports and that kind of thing. And we were able to hang out outside of like an agency.
Okay.
Whereas now, if you go to Blackman, normally you're going to the Blackman Elementary teacher nights or cookouts or whatever. You're not really mixing with people that may be in Walter Hill or Barfield or that kind of thing. So at the club, they're able to meet
everybody,
large group of people versus just the people in your neighborhoods.
Right.
And then even in neighborhoods, I mean, driving the bus, and of course I'm driving the bus too now because staffing is a little bit of an issue. Very scary. But you don't see kids in the neighborhoods playing. You don't see a lot of blacktop courts in neighborhoods, and they're just full all day. So to me, that's a big deal because you learn those life skills. You learn how to talk to people. You learn how to, introduce yourself to people that you may not be familiar with.
Right.
And that just doesn't happen as much anymore.
Right. Hey, you're right about that. Right. So you're saying that because they have that ability, they learn how to interact.
Right.
They learn how to talk and do that kind of thing. Because I know, I mean, I like reading books, and yeah, mama, I do. I like reading books because I know back in the day I hated books. But one thing in this one book that I read and listening to you talk, was talking about how the sooner you can get kids to interact, the sooner they'll know how to talk to people. And so they won't be as fearful. They'll know what to say, how to say it, and they'll be more direct and they'll talk to you. So that's cool, man. So you interact a lot with the kids like that one-on-one, or at least just have those types of conversations with them.
Sure. Every day. I mean, I try to, of course, when I'm not on the bus, I try to meet them at the door. I try to, talk to them. How was your day? And the biggest thing for me is learning every kid's name. I feel like that really matters because it's kind of hard to either discipline a child, or if a child is having an issue, you can't really be comfortable with somebody that doesn't know your name. So of all the 200 kids we've got enrolled, I know everybody's name. I know the parents. I know pretty much what kind of car they drive. We do we do curbside dismissal, so that's kind of cheating. I see them every day. But just being able to understand and interact and talk to people makes a difference. And I think it really matters with the kids. We don't have a lot of behavioral issues, and these are the kids oftentimes that are struggling in schools, that the teachers are saying they're disruptive or they're defiant or they've got all these acronyms behind their name, when really a lot of it is just approach with that child. So
preach. Yeah, I mean, preach. Like seriously, like you're right.
But I mean, and it's a little different for me. I mean, I see it every day. And of course, that's kind of why I do what I do, just because I know that, a lot of those issues aren't just that child.
And see, and what grade does the Boys and Girls Club go up to? What's the cutoff?
So right now we go up to 8th grade. We used to go up to the high schools. Probably in the fall we'll be back at the high schools.
Okay. So y'all have a lot of high schools that come too?
So pre-COVID, we'd have about 35 teens a day. Of course, it would fluctuate with jobs and sports, and extracurriculars. But
because see now, like I have a passion too, but see that age group ain't my passion. Like seriously, it truly, I truly believe it's a calling. Because my wife is like, I don't see how you work with teenagers. Like that's what she tell me all the time. She's like, I don't see how you work with them. She's like, I just couldn't do them. And I'm like, I don't see how you work with babies. Like there's no way I could do that. Like 2-3-year-olds, and
no,
I just can't. And then even some of the ones that are in the elementary age, like the 3rd, 4th, 5th graders, man, they be tough, man. Yeah. Like I do it because I love the Lord, and the Lord loves me, so I love them too. But man, that's just a hard age, man. And it seems like you just fit right in with that age group. Like that's your niche, man. Like that's you.
So I would probably prefer the teens a little bit more, but our biggest struggle is probably the kindergarten and 1st graders. The patience, that kind of thing. But I tell everybody I'm way more patient with kids than adults.
I hear that a lot.
So the parents are a little bit more of a challenge than the kids, but it's not bad. They at that age you can really kind of mold them before society molds them.
Right. So I'm glad you said it, because that rolls me right into my next question. So how are you connecting with the families, at the Boys and Girls Club? What's the connectivity? How are y'all doing that?
So we try to have a family engagement activity once a month.
Okay.
So for instance, we did like a Thanksgiving curbside meal for them. We offer holiday assistance with gifts and that kind of thing.
Okay.
But then I guess outside of that, we try to provide resources. A lot of times, parents they may need assistance with mental health, or they may need assistance with behavior challenges and counseling. They may need a social worker to help find housing assistance or that kind of thing, which a lot of people don't think childcare is a family inclusive type thing, but it really is, because if you don't have somewhere for your child to go, then you probably can't work. You probably can't make your doctor's appointment and that kind of thing. So we try to just meet. I mean, we don't have like an intake or case management load, but it kind of is, because each family needs something, and we try to help them out when we can.
Then when you say, I'm sorry, I mean, because that you kind of prick me a little bit. When you said mental health, do y'all do that, or do y'all just connect them to somebody?
We connect them out. And there's been several cases, especially here recently, where parents will, they'll say they're struggling, or you can just tell from the kid that, especially now we've got several homeless kids that are in hotels or that kind of thing. So a lot of times a kid may hint at something. We'll just kind of talk to the parents, and most of them are comfortable enough to express when they need help. Some of them aren't, but the ones that are, we try to help them as much as we can.
Well, that's cool. I didn't know y'all did that.
So, I mean, it really, there's so much going on that, you think, it's just a 2:30 to 6:30 place, but because it's private, we can do a lot more stuff.
Oh, well, that's cool, man. Because I know that's probably needed more than anything else, that mental health piece. So do y'all, with the suicide rate, do y'all see a lot of depression, a lot of kids that are just kind of battling who they are, what they want to be? Kind of, y'all seen a lot of things like that there, or
not as much? I know when the teens were still there, we had several issues with that age group. I mean, with the kindergarten, 8th graders, not as much. There are a few, and some struggle with just kind of self-identity, and we try to help them with that, but not there aren't really a whole lot of youth mental health issues, more so from the parents. Now, behavioral issues, we see several of those, and a lot of times it's situations where parents, they may not really know how to address it, so they're just kind of reaching out for assistance with that. So we make referrals all the time to the guidance center, mental health co-op, youth villages, that kind of thing.
So y'all just strictly, because for some people that may not still know after all these years, y'all are really strictly for the kids, right? Y'all really there for them. So y'all not doing a lot of parenting stuff and things like that.
Not a whole lot, except for the family, like the family events.
Now, back in the day, y'all used to have Thanksgiving dinners for the family at the center.
We did. So we would do Thanksgiving dinner. We normally do like a back to school cookout, end of school bash, that kind of thing. So we try to get people in as much as we can.
Y'all stay busy. Like,
it's pretty busy.
Man, when you get time off, man, like, you just constant.
So when I'm off, after 6:30, I try to just hang out. I still make time for golf and tennis all that good stuff. And church, and I like to nap. I get my naps in faithfully. So I still
have to have them naps, man.
I still debrief regularly.
That's good. That's good. You gotta have that. The only problem is, man, when you start napping and you don't even know you napping, that's that
happens.
That's when you get in trouble. Okay, so you've been there about 10 years now, so you've been going strong. So what is it that you really want to accomplish, at the Boys and Girls Club? What is it that you're really trying to change, or what are you trying to shoot for?
So probably the biggest thing is when I started, and really even now, some people see the Boys and Girls Club as just a lower income opportunity for kids. And, it sounds good from a, I guess, marketing standpoint, because people want to give to those in need. But if you really think about it, I mean, really any kid is in need. If you've got a parent that makes $200,000 a year, but they work 90 hours a week, you still need an adult to help you academically or socially or whatever the case may be. So just being there for really any kid and having something that anybody can go and be comfortable and grow. I mean, that's kind of my biggest goal. And it's definitely changed. I'll say that it's definitely changed over the years. And I don't know if it's because of availability of other childcare, if it's from, resources that the club offers that others may not, or timing or whatever it is. But that's kind of one of the biggest goals, is just getting that awareness out there and growing the program for everybody, not just the underserved that is kind of marketed sometimes.
Now, do y'all have a sports league there? I'm just curious.
We did. We used to have flag football and basketball leagues, but of course we ended those a couple of years ago.
Is there a reason why?
COVID.
Because of COVID. Okay. So is there anything about the Boys and Girls Club that you would like to change or see different, or is there something that you would like to implement that's not there?
Sure. So, I mean, I think Probably the biggest thing is just getting back to the sports, and it may not necessarily be a league, but it may just be like intramurals or clinics or that kind of thing, because I think now that's a big interest for kids. Just getting the specialized training sessions, where as a kid we didn't have near as many trainers that would train people, but a lot of kids are wanting that extra work. They're wanting somewhere to go just to shoot ball. I mean, outside of Patterson and Sportscom, you really don't have open gyms.
No, you really don't
anymore. So getting back to that, and I think that'll help with the community. Meeting kids outside of your area too. So hopefully we can get back to that. We've had some discussions about it. It's just hard because once we put these resources there, will people come to it?
Right.
And then how do you market that? How do you? So a little bit of building behind it, but I think that's probably the route I would like to end up going pretty soon.
Okay. So how are y'all reaching the community, since you brought that up?
Sure. So of course, stuff like this, WGNS. We've got a pretty strong social media presence, and then just kind of going out talking about the club any opportunity you can. The biggest thing I believe is just the kids going to school and telling their friends, hey, the Boys and Girls Club is there. They don't mention the part about your parents having to pay. So, but I think that's the biggest thing, is just being willing to go into the community and talk about it.
So you pretty involved with the youth, man. So, you've been there 10 years. So you've seen a lot of kids transition through those doors. Do a lot of those kids come back to help and volunteer and do things with you there?
Sure. A lot of them do. We try to keep, so I was telling somebody the other day, I've got a group me of, so I don't know if I said it, but I started out as a team director when I started the club. So there's probably, I don't know, there's probably 20 or 25 that I still talk to pretty regularly, and they come back and they'll do videos for us, or they'll do like small group sessions, or come back and help wrap Christmas gifts or feed or that kind of thing. So several of them come back, and then of course some of them, they come back and it's because their kids are enrolled.
Wow. So I bet that'd be tough, don't it?
I'm like, I started when I was 12. I'm still 22. So but it's good. I mean, it just shows that, for somebody to enjoy something and then enroll their kids in it, that means that they believe in it and want to get behind it. So definitely. It's a cool thing, not necessarily for me, because you have to age if your children are now involved. So
hey, you're gonna feel real bad when those kids' children get enrolled and you still there shaking hands at the front door.
We'll see.
You will see. All right, man. So what is do you have a good story that you'd like to share about a student or a family after being a part of the Boys and Girls Club? Like how I know you got one in your back pocket, one of them stories that just really touched you, man, from the experiences you've had.
Sure. I have tons. I'm trying to think of maybe a recent one, because I mean there's so many.
Right.
I would say probably the biggest one, we had a kid that was she was homeless for a little bit. So she came to the club. She probably started the club at maybe 11 or 12, probably 11 or 12. And you're talking about a hilarious kid. Would say, I remember primarily one conversation we had, she was talking to a staff person, and a staff person ended up having lipstick on her teeth. And the kid's like, oh, ha, 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 I like the lipstick on your teeth. So, very funny, very humorous kid. Comes into the teen center, ends up being Youth of the Year, which is like a national Boys and Girls Club recognition.
Right.
So a lot of speaking engagements, and now she's graduated from MTSU. She is interning with several different like news agencies, in journalism,
really
doing the whole thing. But I think it really came from some of the programs that inspired her through the club. So it's just good. I mean, she still will call or text, and I think that's the biggest thing, is just the kids still reaching out when they have successes and feeling that it's important enough to let me know that, hey, I've done this or that kind of thing. So that's probably the biggest thing. I mean, and there's 40 or 50 of those stories, but
yeah,
that's just kind of one that was more recent. The MTSU graduation and that kind of thing is something that is great.
Well, I knew that was going to throw you for a loop because I know you got a ton of stories to tell. Do you at times, because either do you see a lot of single parenting coming through there? Do you sometimes feel like the father figure or the only male presence in the life of these?
So there's a kid now. He is he's probably 6. He comes in and he's like, "Hey, Dad," and you hate to say, "Stop calling me that," because I don't know what's really going on there. Right. But I think it's good if he's fine with that. I'm not just going to go around saying, "Hey, this is my child" and that kind of thing. But if that's what he needs in that moment, I'm completely fine with it. And I think a lot of kids, especially in our community, don't see that Black role model in certain situations. They don't see a guy every day. So when they see somebody that knows their name and it's positive most of the time. Sometimes I do fuss at them. I don't want to say that. But they see that positivity. They see that, okay, Mr. Kedrick can do this. Mr. Kedrick, blah, 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 blah. I can do this. I think that's important. So definitely get the father role. Definitely get, can you help me discipline my child for what they did at home? And I'm like, I can't really, I can encourage them to make better choices. You just
wait till we go see Mr. Kedrick. He gonna get you.
You didn't wash the dishes. And I'm like, wash your dishes. So, but it's good. I mean, whatever helps. And again, coming from a single parent home, I mean, I had that, people. I can remember you and Jermon, even at 18, like, hey, man, doing different things or just, several people. I remember Steve Bingham when he was at the Stars program and Craig and all those guys that would do that. I mean, they didn't mind if they saw me out being foolish. They corrected it. So, I mean, there was several people, and that's kind of the old school Patterson days when, it was Holloway Gym and all that good stuff. So, I mean, I think it's important, and we need more. So I do want to say, anybody that wants to volunteer, I'm gonna
let you put your plug in.
Let me do that. Anybody that wants to volunteer, help out, let me know. I will get you plugged in.
I know you will, and I might have somebody for you too. I might have. Well, how old do you have to be able to volunteer?
So any age, to volunteer, even at 15 or 16.
Good, because I got 2 of them. And I think I might be bringing your way on the weekends, man. I'm serious, man, because I think there's a lot of value in that. Because I mean, we're not, I don't know how you grew up, but I know how I grew up, and sometimes as Black people or African Americans or brown, dark brown, light brown, whatever color you want to put us, as our people, man, depending on how we grew up, we're so driven to be successful that we not really forget about how we grew up, but our kids don't understand how we grew up. And so they don't understand the struggle. So sometimes I have to put my kids back in that place and say, hey, look, this is kind of how I grew up. You need to experience that, because everybody don't have 2 parents. Everybody don't have, the things that you have. Everybody is not able to come home and get a good meal. And, so you need to experience some of that so because one thing you said, and I mean, I really enjoy what you said, is that there's not a lot of Black men or brown men, whatever color you want to, because this whole political thing gets me thrown off all the time. We're not consistent. Now you said, and that's something that you said, is that they see you as a consistent figure on a daily basis, so they're drawn to you. And so how do I know you don't have the answer, but that's the thing that I'm trying. How do we get more Black men to be more consistent in the lives of these young people?
No, that's kind of something I struggle with every day, because I try to stay off social media. I'm on there, but I try not to be, but I see more people, I guess, assessing things more than addressing them. And if we just took that.
You sure you ain't a preacher somewhere deep down inside?
No, I don't know. There's so many people, and if we focus the wrong ways, if you go back to, I guess, gang violence, got me over here coughing.
I'm sorry.
Anyway,
man.
No, it's fine. If you go back to the gangs, I mean,
I cough all the time.
People join gangs because they need influence. They need somebody on their behalf.
Right.
So if we take that same energy and put that towards whoever, it doesn't matter if it's a Black kid or a Hispanic kid or whatever the kid may be, if we use those same principles and have that group, they're going to be interested in that. I mean,
right.
So, I don't know where the lack of consistency comes from. I don't know if it's opportunity. I don't know if they think, oh, because, I don't have this to offer. I don't have the money to give the Boys and Girls Club whatever, so they're not going to choose me. I don't know if my background fits because I'm a construction worker. They may think I'm not eligible to speak to these kids when really, I mean, it's anybody.
Right.
You don't have to be a blue collar or white collar or whatever. You just need to come in and talk about it or mentor a kid, or it could be as simple as we provide snack and dinner every day.
Okay.
If we could get 10 guys to say, okay, I'm going to come in for 10 minutes a week and just eat dinner with the kid and talk to him. I mean, that's something that will make a huge difference. It doesn't have to be coming and helping with homework or coming in and, training them for an hour. It could be simply sitting down, talking to them. How was your day? Is school going all right? Okay. Was your green beans okay tonight? Have a good night. Very, very simple. But
can't get them to do that.
No, I mean, is it a timing thing? I'm not really sure what it is, but we need to get there. And maybe it's, I don't know. I mean, what kind of incentive can we?
I mean, you can binge watch Ozark and all that other stuff. I mean, you can find. I think what you said, man, is that and I'm gonna go piggyback off something you said, man, is that what do the kids really, really want at the end of the day at the Boys and Girls Club, and what do they really want? What do you see that what do they really just want? What do they really want?
So I think they really just want a safe space to be. I mean, they don't want, of course, food helps, and
of course,
basketball and dodgeball and homework helps, but they want somewhere they can go and belong and somebody to care about them.
Right.
You could tell them to draw 6 squares on a piece of paper, but if you do it with a smiling face, they're going to remember that when they go home.
Yeah.
So it's just a caring person to show them some love and be there every day. And it's pretty simple.
And that's where I was alluding to is that a lot of times, we, even with the teenagers, that's just what they want. They just want a presence. They don't want your money. They don't want your clothes. They, they'll take a cheeseburger, but man, they just want you. Like, that's just what they want. And so I'm like you, man. I'm in the same way. I'm passionate. You know what? Actually, man, we should just start something like that. We should just start, how many men could we get to come on a certain night of the week? Make that like a thing, like, all those men that are listening to this show. Man, we should get together and just say, every Thursday night or whatever night of the week, we're gonna go in. We just gonna show up as men of the community. We're gonna show. Now, we don't want your drunk Uncle Willie coming in there or nothing, but unless he's sober, sober him up, we might take him. But because I really believe that, man, like, we as men, we really have to step up, man, because what now you have to, now I'm a little older than you, so say that again. Is like, we have too many that are doing what now and not, what'd you say again?
Oh, assessing the issues and not addressing
assessing. So we have a lot of that going on.
People like to talk about it,
man,
like to find issues and this kind of thing, but what are you doing to change
what you doing? Like, I'll call them front porch prophets. That's what I call them. A lot of people on the front porch talking, but ain't nobody. And I like that, man. And I'm, that's what drives me, because I want to do something. Now, whatever it is I can do, I'm going to do it, whether it's big or small, but I'm going to be, out there trying to trailblaze to do something. So, man, that may be a challenge for me to just say, I could do a little bit more. I mean, I do enough, but 10 minutes, 15 minutes just to come through there.
10 minutes. And it's kind of similar to the lunch buddies.
Yeah.
I thought about that after I said that, but I mean, it really makes
it makes a difference
in 10 minutes.
Yeah, because here's the thing. All right, listen, people. Here's the thing. Because what Mr. Kedrick is asking, which again, he's director, right? Director of the Boys and Girls Club here in Rutherford County, and the thing that he's asking is this: look, you know, because we ask people to volunteer, come in 10 minutes, come eat with a kid, then you go on to the house.
Right.
And you say, well, I got my own kids. I ain't got time to be yada yada. I'm thinking, but here's the thing, but these kids may not even have anybody.
Right.
You could be the it, you know, that's a message. You could be the it. Right. So your kids have you, but these kids may not have anybody. You could be that it. Right. So, you know, let's try to make a difference. All right, here we go. Here goes some personal questions. I ain't gonna reveal too much about you, but just kind of getting to where you are and the way you think and the things that you do. It had to be some people in your life. So I'm gonna start with this. Who do you look up to for inspiration and mentorship?
That's a tough question. I mean, I've got so many. I mean, just different family members, from my mom to my uncle.
Okay.
I mean, we didn't have a whole lot growing up. I mean, we didn't. Okay. But what we did have, we appreciated, and we were always taught, and like, that's not an excuse for you not to do what you want to do. I mean, right. I feel like I've always had kind of the opportunity to succeed.
Okay.
Not just because it was given, because in my mind I knew I could do it. So
right.
But then I'm also like a kind of a history guy. So like Martin Luther King, I mean, I still today put quotes up and read them and think about him. I mean, right. He's been dead for years.
Yeah.
But just stuff like that. I mean, I try to look for just positive people.
Okay.
And just follow it.
Okay. So there's not like one particular person. It's just many influences that have been, great.
There are so many.
Right.
You know, I
somebody feel bad if you didn't mention their name.
Probably
right?
So. Probably so.
That's a good thing to have, though, to have that many people in your life. Okay, so what is the most important risk you took and why?
Most important risk. I mean, even back to school, I would probably say just the risk to be different. Like, I feel like it's okay to be different. I mean, I can remember being in middle school and running cross country. Like, I mean, of course, here's this 6'1" lanky black guy with bright yellow central middle cross country shorts on, and I'm running through the inner city, and people are like, who is this crazy guy running through the city? But I knew that if that's what I wanted to do, and everybody else was afraid, or they didn't want to show their legs, or they didn't, like, it was fine. I mean, a lot of people. And also I remember walking home from practice because my mama had other stuff to do and I needed to get home. So you know what I mean? So the risk to just be different. I mean, a lot of my friends, well, not all of them, but most of them came from, you know, 2-parent homes, and mine, I didn't. So they were out doing things, and sometimes there was stuff I couldn't do because I couldn't afford it, but I figured it out. I went to work, or I figured it out. So just kind of being willing to be different and knowing that that's okay. And then I think that's kind of still what drives me today too, because it's okay to be different. You don't have to fit the mold just because I may have saw violence while I was at the basketball court playing, or I may have saw somebody and been able to have drugs or whatever the case may be, but I chose not to because that's not something I wanted to do. So that's probably the biggest risk. And I mean, it leads into going back and get my master's. I mean, I said it was something I would do before 30, and I graduated at like 29 and a day before I turned 30. But, you know, with the full-time job, and of course I was still at the club working full-time doing that. So that was another big risk, but I mean, why not? I mean, it's good to be different. If somebody else could do it, I mean, I can too. Why not?
Yeah. But you just threw a visual in my face with the yellow banana shorts on, and a brother running through the neighborhood,
the
like
old school cross country.
Man, I bet that was crazy.
And I would be running.
You got talked about for real.
I'd be running down Billbro, and they're like, "Who is this guy?"
I know you did.
So, but I mean, it's funny now. But I think back, like, I didn't care. I was just running and trying to beat my score.
Yeah, you know, black people, we don't run like that. Like cross country, we don't do nothing like that. You know, we don't do that. But that was a risk, though, man.
Yeah,
you're right. Yeah. It was. All right. So, what is the most memorable lesson you've learned from your mentor, or just I got mentor, but just what's the most memorable lesson you've ever learned?
Probably the most memorable is just to take time for yourself.
Okay.
Okay. Especially, I remember especially being a little bit younger, I felt like, because I don't know, I guess I always felt like if there was something I wanted to do, I wanted to be able to do it. So if it was a vacation or go to this or whatever, I wanted to do it. So at that time, I felt like I needed to have this job, and I needed to do everything necessary to do it. But then I'm like, okay, yeah, money is good, but do I really need to spend that much time working? Do I really need to, put all this pressure on myself when really I could, just be focusing on myself and kind of being a better person in general.
Right.
So that's probably the biggest lesson I've learned, is just like, chill out.
Yeah.
Chill out, take some time for yourself, figure stuff out, and everything will be fine.
Yeah, because when you told me at 30 years old you taking naps, like,
I love
man, like, come on now, who doing that? Like, people, they ain't talking about naps no more. They always talking about go be a go-getter, go get it, go get it, go, 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 go. You like, yeah, I see in about 35, 40 minutes after I wake up from my nap. Okay. So what do you feel are some things parents can do to help their youth that are struggling in school? What do you feel that they could do that are struggling, let me say, in school and out of school?
Okay. I think the biggest thing is just building that relationship so they're comfortable talking to you.
Okay. That's good.
A lot of times kids don't, if they're not comfortable talking to you about things, because they may feel like you're not going to believe them, or if they go up and say, hey, this teacher is giving me issues, well, what did you do to, so once you build that relationship and kids can talk to you, you really can figure out what really is going on, and you can help them a little bit better. If they need tutoring, try to find it for them. If your kid is struggling, don't be afraid to see what resources the school has. A lot of time, especially in our culture, we don't want our kid to be labeled. We don't want to go in and fight for that IEP or that
we sure don't
504 plan, those kinds of things. But if your kid needs that, it's going to help the child. It's not going to, it's not going to be any harm to the child. So why not? And I think, that's kind of the struggle. The kids struggle in school, so they are disruptive. And they do that because they don't understand.
And also, you need to plug on that a little bit. Those plans are not demeaning either.
Right.
And I think sometimes those plans get that quote unquote label that they're demeaning. Oh, you got an IEP, or oh, you got a no. It's I'm struggling. Like I really am. I'm struggling. I'm trying to get through school. So I like that, and I like the communication piece, because with the work that I do, you get a lot of that. Like, I can't talk to my mom or my daddy. Well, most of the daddy issues is a whole nother thing, but most of it is like, I can't talk to my mom, or we can't talk, or we don't communicate. And, I would never tell my mom. And I'm thinking, why wouldn't you? Like, that's your mama. But like you said, man, they don't build those relationships, because it's always, what have you done? What did you do? And here we go again. But it's never just sitting and having that conversation. I think for me, man, I try to do that with my kids, man. I really do. Because I remember one time my son said, he's like, Daddy, you never let me tell my side of the story. He was like, you always just, listen to what the teacher and the principal was saying. He said, you never hear my side of the story. And I was like, I might need to start doing that, because they can be right. They can be right sometimes, because as adults, yes, y'all, we can be wrong. Yes, we as adults, we can say the wrong thing. We can do the wrong thing. We're not always right. And sometimes the kids are right. Like sometimes they are right. So I agree with you on that one, man.
And a kid's perception. You never know what a child is thinking.
Exactly.
That child may have, I tell the story all the time, that child may have missed breakfast. Because they woke up late and didn't get to wear what they wanted to wear. Well, by 3 o'clock, this child's day is terrible. And that teacher asking you to pick up that piece of paper may be the last straw before they snap. But nobody cared to figure out why they were in that situation in the first place. So a lot of times, just children's perception is, you never know how they're going to perceive what you say. So
and we probably just need to start a crusade on that right there. Just kids perception, man, just how they think. Okay, so we're gonna close this thing out. So I appreciate Kedrick being here today, and I got maybe just we got time for maybe a couple more questions, and then we're gonna close this thing out, because I want to know the answer to this one. What do you think is the most successful and the most dangerous trait in a leader?
The most successful and the most dangerous. So does it need to be the same trait?
No, it doesn't have to be.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I think the most successful trait in a leader is probably modeling the way.
Modeling the way.
Modeling the way. So, and just a little background. So my master's was in leadership.
Okay.
Well, master's of business is MBA, but through leadership. So modeling the way is probably the most successful. That's because if people see you doing it, or if people see you as being able to do something or willing to do something, then they're probably going to work a little bit better for you. Right. For example, I mean, I've got my CDL. I can drive the bus. I can go in and clean the toilets. I can serve snack. I can cook dinner. I can enter the kids in the system, the whole shebang. I can pretty much do any position at the club just because I don't feel like I can lead somebody or help somebody do something if I don't have the ability to do it.
Right. Okay.
So them seeing me willing to do that and knowing that I can do that, it makes it a little bit easier for them to ask questions. Or if they have a better system and it's better than I would have done it, they should feel comfortable saying, well, you know, it's great that you can do it that way, but I can do that better in this way. And that's fine. So
that's cool.
I would say probably modeling the way. I think the most dangerous. That's tough.
Okay.
The most dangerous may be there's another style that talks about enabling others and just kind of being supportive and being like an open communicator.
Right.
But I feel like in that way, sometimes, you know, once you are really supportive and then, you know, there's the overflow, there's the flow between, I guess, professional and personal.
Okay.
That sometimes may make it a little bit harder in certain situations.
Okay.
So that may be the most dangerous. Again, not, I guess, not really a poison, but it could, you just got to be careful with it.
Right. Right. And I like that too, because that could go both ways too. Because when you was talking about the parenting piece, is like, you know, I can wash the dishes, sweep the floor, you know, fold my clothes, do all these things. Then I could be able to do the same thing with my kids, you know. So if you can't do all those types, you know, I can listen and I can hear, I can understand. I know. So it's almost the same trait in leadership as a parent, because you are a leader as a parent. So, you know, it ain't just beating it into your child and making them submit to what you want them to do, but it's also that leadership piece too. All right. Last thing, one thing you would like people to know about you that they may not know.
I think all the other questions were pretty easy for me to talk about. And the last two, I'm like, oh goodness. I mean, I feel like
you just
especially working with kids. I'm
pretty
willing to share.
I mean, like really you eat flies on the weekend or something, or you know, you scuba dive, or you know, you deliver cows or something. I mean, what is something?
I mean,
nothing.
I mean, I don't really know. I feel like
okay.
I don't know if I have anything that most people don't know. I feel like most people.
Okay. Well, I don't know this one. When you get married?
Well, I don't know that.
Nah, I'm just messing with you.
You know, I'm not
okay.
On the marriage
I
question. I was married. I was still thinking about the other question. I mean, everybody knows.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
I don't really know.
No, you cool. I mean, all of us got a little something that's a little crazy about us. We all do got a little
definitely crazy.
Got a little crazy about us. So, but favorite scripture, and then the last thing you want to leave with the people.
Okay, so my favorite scripture, I've got a few, but I think my favorite is probably 1 Corinthians 9:24.
Okay.
Do you not know that all runners running a race, yet only one receives the prize? Y'all get the whole, you know,
right.
Run in such a way. I mean,
right.
So, and that kind of goes back to my athletic days. I mean, you know, everybody goes through it. Everybody practices. Everybody is, you know, fighting to win that race.
Right.
But, you know, what can you do to truly run that race? Can you make a difference and all that kind of thing? So I think it's just kind of adjusted from, you know, the academic success to ultimately the end goal is to get to heaven. So
right.
How are you living to get there? And then I try to pour that, you know, into my personal life. I try to pour that into my spiritual life, my professional life, the whole thing.
Cool. Well, man, I appreciate you being here.
You're
coming
welcome.
Into the 11th hour.
No
and
problem.
enjoying, man. I love the conversation, man. We could talk more about some of the things that you mentioned,
Sure.
but we just don't have enough time. But I'm really serious about, you know, two things that you mentioned. I'm really serious about, you know, getting involved in some way, shape. Well, not me personally. Other maybe coming in and do the 10-minute lunch thing, but really get my kids involved, because I really think having them do that is going to open up their eyes to some different things, and especially with you, man. You such a great person, man, and I know with them sitting under you, man, and having you direct them, man, because I've seen you at work. So, brother, I know what you can do, man. So, you can whip mine in shape anytime you want to. So I appreciate you coming through, man. Thank you so much for the knowledge, filling us in about the Boys and Girls Club, what y'all do, what y'all all about. You know, and one thing you did hit me too, man. I really thought, because all the TV commercials are about underprivileged kids. I mean, that's all you see. You know, you don't really think about the other end, the other spectrum too, because they need that too. I just never really thought about that. So I appreciate you opening my eyes to that too, man. Really, welcome. Really. And so connecting with the parents and things like that. So I appreciate you coming through, man. Look forward to get you through one more time, or maybe even bring one of your employees to come through and talk about the experience, because they're gonna tell us the truth.
I'm gonna bring a kid. That's the key.
Nah, that is true. That is true. And bringing in one of the kids, that may be something we might need to do one day. Bringing the kid, get their perspective, their point of view of because you'd be like, oh Lord, please don't say you saw a rat run through there yesterday, or something you're crunchy in your.
Mr. Kedrick would be in a chokehold last week. They'll tell the truth.
Mr. Kedrick, can I talk about the time you put me in the closet? Nah, man, this is fun, man. I enjoy what I do, man. I thank the Lord to be able to do what I do. Man, it's about the youth, man, our family and the community, man. And so that's what's really important. So remember, y'all, go out there and make movements, not just moments, man. It's about living and doing the things that you need to do. We are excited about the 11th hour. Always remember, man, hit us up on our website, our social media, man, and just check out what we're trying to do for the people. This is your boy, Pastor Mike, aka 90s #5, the Michael Davis, and I'm out. Peace.